Guys, today we're going to be talking about the exotic trace rifle from the newest dungeon, the Navigator. Now, luckily, we actually have the Navigator here with the exotic catalyst. Big shout out to J Diesel for this. And for those wondering how to get the exotic catalyst, fear not, we will have a guide alongside our dungeon guide. And no, it's not just doing the master mode version of this dungeon. With that being said, though, this is purely a review for this trace rifle because it is extremely unique. And for my hunter mains out there, the exotic catalyst is going to be so disgusting in your hands. First up though, the exotic perk found on this weapon is Protective Weave. Firing this weapon at an ally grants woven mail to both the user and the target. Now, woven mail is so good, both in PvE and inside of PvP. Now, the trait found on this weapon is dealing sustained damage severs the target. And the exotic catalyst actually grants the Navigator a special reload that allows you to fire a grapple point at a targeted location. Now, there is a limit to how far you can shoot this, but you can essentially just shoot this grapple tangle wherever you are aiming, allowing you to grapple up to it. And the beautiful thing here, guys, is it only consumes one ammo. One shot from this trace rifle is all you need. Now, let me get into the exotic perk of this weapon. First up, Protective Weave. Firing at an ally, approximately 8 shots will grant both you and that ally woven mail. Now, it doesn't state it right here, but it actually returns 5 shots to your trace rifle, meaning in things like PvP, the ammo conservation here is very nice. If you're hitting all your shots on your ally, you're only really consuming 3 shots and you're giving you and your ally a 40% damage resist. That is nasty, guys. But wait, it gets even better because we have artifact mods this season that takes this to another level. First up, in our 4th column, top row, we have Strand Soldier, where your strand weapons gain unraveling rounds whenever you gain woven mail while you are using a strand subclass. Now, I do highly advise that you do use a strand subclass with this trace rifle as they just synergize so well here, but you're granting yourself unraveling rounds, which is huge. And we're gonna get into TTK values in just a moment. And then the perk right next to it is improved unraveling, where it increases the amount of damage dealt by unraveling a target. Guys, this is just juicing this trace rifle. Now, guys, you can actually take this a step further with threaded transmutation, where while you have woven mail, weapon final blows create a tangle. And yes, you can combine this with even things like the Wanderer, where your tangles that you throw attaches to targets and then detonates into a suspending burst. And then threading final blows create a tangle. Combined with things like threaded continuity, where your suspend, unravel, and sever effects apply to targets have increased duration, or thread of warding, where you pick up an overpower, you grant yourself woven mail. You see where I'm going with this, guys? There is a variety of ways of taking advantage of this trace rifle and what it has to offer simply by playing support for your teammates. But then on top of that, with these artifact perks, you're able to use this trace rifle offensively. Now, the unraveling rounds inside of PvP last for about 5 seconds, and woven mail here lasts for about 10. I think the only complaint you're gonna have is if you have a teammate that's just strafing way too much and you cannot get woven mail to proc. Again, if they're moving all over the place, you're gonna be missing some shots. And I believe my controller players will have a tougher time with this. But what the Navigator has to offer here is pretty much on-command woven mail, which brings me to the build that I unfortunately was not able to use because we could not find a hunter with Certarachnes and this exotic and the exotic catalyst. See, Certarachnes, guys, comes with the perk Acrobat's Focus, where you gain woven mail when activating your grapple. On top of that, you gain increased flinch resistance while woven mail is also active. Now, a couple things here. Number one of my biggest complaints with trace rifles inside of PvP is they are terrible at combating flinch. And number 2, with the exotic catalyst, you always have a free grapple, meaning you pretty much always have a means to activate woven mail. And with something like Certarachne, you can create a grapple tangle with the trace rifle, use it to grapple into a group of enemies, in the process gain woven mail, activate your air move to consume your class ability with ensnaring slam and suspend targets, and now they're all suspended and can't kill you unless they're landing headshots. Again, the 40% damage resist doesn't apply to crits, but considering airborne targets have a hard enough time just landing shots on you, you're good, man. You can easily clean them up after this point, and again, you don't even have to use the trace rifle. You can use it as a means of creating the grapple, granting yourself woven mail, and then just swap to another weapon. Unfortunately, I was not able to utilize this combination tonight, but the future potential here is beautiful. Disregard the fact that you can use this weapon as a support weapon, which you can. It is a great support weapon, but you can use it so offensively. It is on-demand woven mail, and you're able to utilize it aggressively so, especially for the hunter class. Now, I do want to mention something here with the exotic catalyst. You cannot create a grapple point over and over indefinitely. There is a 30-second cooldown. And I don't know if Bungie just forgot to add text here, but you actually don't even see the cooldown on the bottom left hand of your screen, or at least a status effect. It just simply shows a number counting down, but during that time frame, you cannot create another grapple point with this trace rifle. Now, a couple quick facts I want to go over in regards to this trace. Number one, it has 17 damage per crit and 13 per body, with roughly a 0.66 second time to kill value, and that's taking down guardians at max resilience. Now, its range was pretty impressive here at 38 meters. Now, a couple things to note when you actually fire at your teammates. You don't have to do it all at once. Matter of fact, it's very forgiving. You can tap fire and actually spread out your shots far apart and still proc Woven Mail. And again, you can tell you've procced Woven Mail by both the status effect at the bottom left end of your screen and the glow around your teammate. Now, Woven Mail does a lot. Again, it doesn't shield your crit, that being your face, but it does shield your body, substantially so. For instance, something like Immortal, instead of it killing you in 5 shots to the body, it will require 20 shots with Woven Mail. On top of that, you can even stack things with Woven Mail. You can stack it with Well of Radiance. You can stack it with Overshields. You can literally have a teammate throw down a Bastion barricade, granting you all an Overshield, and then on top of that, you give them Woven Mail, and then you proceed to push. There's so many toxic things you can actually do with this trace rifle, especially game modes like comp. I literally just ran around in comp and was shooting my teammates, giving them damage resist, and then just pushing with them, playing extremely aggressively behind their backs. And like, I'm imagining all kinds of build crafting opportunities here. For instance, having a single Warlock place a Rift, granting you and the entire team Arc Souls, and then you give them damage resist with Navigator, and then you all push up together. And if you're playing on that Hunter with Sarachnis, you can go in for the suspend and literally just let the Arc Souls kill everything. So no, this trace rifle isn't just some super meta powerhouse all on its own, but it's the support capabilities and the dipping in there of damage resist that's gonna make someone like me actually give it a go. Now, someone's gonna say, Cross, why not just use Lumina? If you want to use a support weapon, why not just grant yourselves a damage buff and healing with Lumina? The problem with Lumina, guys, at least in PvP, is you need a kill to grant yourself noble rounds. That's the beauty of the Navigator. It's free, on-demand, Woven Mail, no kill activated. On top of that, if you have the exotic catalyst, it's free, on-demand grapple, only consuming 1 shot from your trace rifle. The ammo conservation here, guys, is so good with the refund of 5 ammo, and the potential synergy with everything across the board makes this an option in PvP, despite a lot of people already writing it off. Now, we have another exotic this season, which we recently just looked at, which is the Cenotaph Mask. It comes with the perk High Priority, which states that it steadily reloads a portion of your equipped trace rifle's magazine from your reserves, and damaging a vehicle, boss, or a champion with a trace rifle marks them as a target. And when an ally defeats the marked target, it generates special ammo for yourself and heavy ammo for your allies. It's a very good exotic, guys. Now, something to note about Cenotaph, the marking on it is very forgiving. We were using it the other day with Divinity, and it is like the ultimate support weapon. On top of that, your teammates can use things like Aeon Gauntlets with Sect of Insight. They can go for the finish and produce heavy ammo for you, but at the same time, you're producing heavy ammo for them with Cenotaph. Now, the reason why I bring up this exotic is because in Strand Surge environments, Navigator is going to be perfect here. There's too many artifact perks, too much synergy, that yes, even with Cenotaph, this trace rifle is going to be very good. Again, I don't think it's necessarily going to just shake the meta up inside of PvE, because for the most part, we have means of survival. Unless we're in a situation where we literally need something to apply damage resist while we are on the go, it's not necessary at this point. But I do imagine something like the Light Blade Nightfall, especially in GMs, and you're traversing through the swamp, and suddenly a moth is heading toward your teammate for the assassination, and you hit him with 8 shots of the Navigator and save their life. In that moment, guys, it may be worth it. What I will say with this season, with these artifact perks that we have, with the way you can synergize with Strand, and if you happen to be that hunter with Sarachnis, this trace rifle will have a very, very fun play style. And on top of that, the extra damage resist is something every teammate should be grateful for. So guys, that is our review here. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Again, we'll have a guide for both the exotic catalyst and the dungeon out first thing in the morning, so be looking out for that. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.